जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
ലക്നൗ ജംഗ്ഷൻ
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad Bhattacharjya Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो.
It's just that kind of a day, isn't it? Sitting here with our hot chai. There was bhajia here, but Joydas finished the bhajia and his chai, which is why Shaun Pollock and I are here having
decaf.
our chai.
Decaf for me, not chai.
Decaf for you. It's just that kind of a day because it's raining in Ahmedabad. The toss is delayed, but we are not delayed because we love seeing you all at Cricbuzz live. And today is one of those days. Polly, last year, this fixture in Ahmedabad, Joyda was sitting right there. I was sitting right here. He was falling off his chair with what Rinku did and the 5 6s he hit. This time around, they're waiting for the excitement because the rain has showered down in Ahmedabad.
I know, he couldn't stop smiling, could he? Like a Cheshire cat. From the jaws of victory. Tell you.
That was something.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if we have an encounter like that, it'll be thoroughly entertaining. I mean, it's a bit of a little bit dead rubber because, I mean, obviously Keiko are through and they're sitting in the pound seats. But if we can have something as exciting as that, we'll thoroughly enjoy that. It might
But
not be
is it dead rubber? Because I've been told that there is that 0.00001% chance of Gujarat still making it. Is mathematically they're still not out, according to scenarios.com.
Yes, they're not out, scenarios.com. They're definitely not out. But they would have to win this game by 355 runs, I think. Because if you have a look at their net run rate, sitting on 10, they can get to 14, but unfortunately they're negative 0.1063, which is not ideal. So they would have to win their next two very comfortably. And I suppose, you know, if we've been looking at RCB and giving them hope, we can't rule out GT at this stage.
But I don't think Joyda looked at that points table down there because he's sitting up there number one. He doesn't look down.
Yeah, he's got short-sightedness at the moment. He just sees.
They have been at number one. They have been dominant this season. They have looked so good. They'd want these 2 points to make sure that they're far away from Rajasthan and sitting pretty at one.
Yeah, I think they just want to close the door now. Close the door, get on with it, because now they want to focus on the business end of the... This is now a very important part of where they're going. And their big point is that because Phil Salt will have to return, they need to make adjustments. They need to look at their team. They need to see everything they need to... This is possibly... They'd rather want to experiment more with this one than the next one, because Rajasthan may well meet them in the finals or in the qualifiers or somewhere very close. So I don't think they'll want to mess around too much at all with the Rajasthan match.
So do you see Phil Salt sitting out today? Today is the best day you feel?
I genuinely feel there's a good chance of Gurbaz. What do you think, Shaun?
So this game is happening at?
Ahmedabad.
Where's the knockout happening at?
Ahmedabad
and Chennai.
Absolutely.
So that's why Ahmedabad, that's my thinking, is that you want to play your side that's going to play in that first, what's it, qualifier.
Yeah.
The first qualifier, I've got to get my name, not eliminator. First qualifier. That's where you want to do. So if Gurbaz is going to be involved, then for me, and also what I would suggest is that what you like to do is if you're going to give certain bowlers a rest, you want them to play the game before. You don't want too long a break. So from a batting perspective, I would go Gurbaz and give them an opportunity. Bowling-wise, if Mitchell Starc wants a break, this is the game he misses. And then he has a game just before he's about to play, so he's fresh from these 4 overs and there's not too much of a downtime.
But do you think this really big shoes for Gurbaz to fit into? Because we've seen what Salt's done. He's answered all the questions that people are asking for the top order for KKR. So that pressure on Gurbaz will be there considering coming into the playoffs. We know there's going to be no Phil Salt.
Yeah, I mean, there's also one other right field suggestion, which is that given the form he is in and the fact that the year they did really well, he opened, they sent Venkatesh Iyer up. And they say, can we try Venkatesh Iyer there and then? The only thing to that I'd say, Shaun, is that do they mess around with a combination that has worked so well and they just seem to have got it in order?
But he clearly has been playing everywhere. He's played at 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So considering he's played everywhere.
I'm wondering if Joy is getting a bit of insider information, you know. He's still connected there.
Maybe he's sending the notes and saying this is what has to happen. Maybe it could be that. It's not the insider.
I actually think they're quite the reverse for Gurbaz. I don't think there's any pressure whatsoever. It's not like he's taken the guy's spot. I mean, he's actually the one stepping in. And if you're in the right management frame of mind, you're going to be going to him and building him up and saying, listen, Salt's done a brilliant job. There's no pressure on you. I mean, we haven't given you any time. You've had no encounters. You've had no batting in the middle. But we believe in you. And you go and do something similar. And I think he'll get carried along by the positiveness that's in that camp at the moment. Everyone's feeling great about the way they're playing. He'll walk out with Narine. Narine will be seeing it well again, and he'll be saying to him, come on, bud, just back yourself, hit the ball. So I don't think there's anything on him, particularly if he plays tonight and gets a score under his belt.
Well, Cricbuzz used to play for GT at one point, and Gujarat has not had the best of season at all. But do you think they got their winning combination too late in the tournament? We saw what they did against Chennai and what Gill and Sudharsan did, but a little too late?
No, look, again I'm saying, why? Let's be very honest. I mean, there are exceptions, but they are very rare exceptions. Why is KKR where they are, and why is GT where they are? Yes, GT didn't get their combination right. For GT to win, they need one or two top players to fire that well that they can. Those two guys put 200 on the board. Any day that your top two guys put 200 on the board, your chances of winning are very high. My point is that what they haven't had is consistent performances from the rest of the order. And even somebody like, has given you, Shubman Gill has given you an average season.
Yes.
Last year he gave you 890 runs. You're not going to get that every season. So what you've done is you've regressed to the mean. Shubman Gill has been human. He's been model. Last year he was superhuman. Okay. And the rest of them there is not enough consistency in the order for them to compete in enough matches. That's the truth of it. Their batting does not have enough consistency. Their bowling is missing the teeth of Shami.
Yes.
And because their fifth bowler is not working, they've tried Omar Zai, they've tried Spencer Johnson, they've tried all three options. To replace Hardik, they've tried with an international all-rounder, Omar Zai, didn't work. Then they tried Spencer Johnson, international fast bowler, and said, okay, let me replace the bowling part of him. That hasn't worked. Now they're trying Matthew Wade, saying that, okay, let me try and plug it the batting way. And I think that is the issue that they finally have, that not enough consistent batting pieces, missing a bowling spearhead. If you look at it, those are the two clear things, and that needs a lot of work. That's basically what Shubman Gill has done for you, Shubman Gill and Sai Sudarshan have done for you, is they've papered over the problem. Okay, right now, okay, here's 200 runs, paper over it. But the underlying fact is there is inconsistency in that batting side.
So
if I looked at it, what I would have said is there was nothing they could do about replacing Pandya, and obviously Shami was brilliant. Now, that was before the season started. So you can't do anything about that. You've got to try your best. I think the letdowns for me, from international perspective, I don't think Miller's had the season that he could have. And obviously Rashid Khan, coming from that back injury, hasn't quite been at the best. And you used to, when you put him in the team or you pick him in a squad, we used to think MVP. The stats that he's given us this year are very different to what we've seen from Thing. The one thing I would say, and I don't think it's a captaincy thing, I think it might be from a management perspective, is I think the Saha thing should have been seen earlier. From a distance watching South Africa, you kind of watch a little bit of this and that. You don't pick up, or you're not like on the ground level. And for Sai Sudarshan to have played in 2 games and the opening partnership to have gone well in those 2 games, they should have seen the writing on the wall there. I think Saha has been one trick too far. And I think if they had managed to get Sai Sudarshan at the top of the order earlier, I think it could have made a difference. I mean, at the end of the day, they could still end up with 14 points. There was like one game.
Yes.
It's like one kind of game that if you had won earlier and also hadn't lost those games as badly as they did, their net run rate wouldn't be as bad as it is. So it wouldn't be classed as, I mean, it's a bad season because they're not qualifying after finishing 1 and 2. But with little tweaks on the back of Shami not being there, the captain going, the back injury of Rashid, I don't think they would look at this as though it's been a disaster in any way.
do you think it's just one-off season, or do you think into the mega auction they have to kind of bolster their batting or bowling? Shami will come back next year, so clearly he gets retained.
If Shami comes back, he has to be a retention.
Yes.
Remember, next year is a big auction.
Yes.
So Shami comes back, he has to be a retention.
So there's Shubman, there's Shami who's retained, there's Sai Sudarshan, you all think, who's retained?
I mean, those are 3 at this
And
point.
Rashid.
That jump up, and obviously Rashid. And I think that all these guys, look, one thing that they've done really well is they've given a fantastic atmosphere to their team. So everyone who's there, there's no doubt they have no problems in being retained. It will not be a problem. People will not want to leave that team. But that is one thing. The problem, he's absolutely right on the Saha issue as well. The problem was that you solve problems in different ways. The way of them solving was, where do we keep, they wanted Saha because Saha was a keeper they wanted to the likes of Noor Ahmed and Rashid. They felt that he was the best keeper and he does give them an edge because he's one of the finest keepers in the country. And the one match that, Wade was keeping, you could make out the difference. Because even the bowlers, he dropped a couple, he couldn't, and the confidence level of the bowlers also down because he thinks that even if there's something there, they may not pick up on it. So the problem is they tried to solve that problem by saying, where can Saha bat? Instead of saying, what's our best batting and then let's put Saha wherever it is, it doesn't matter, we can't help it. So they decided, and rightly decided, not rightly in that sense, but that the only place Saha can play, where he can contribute a lot, is up front. So that's what, they tried to solve the problem, I think, the wrong way around.
Yes.
And
because we've seen what this IPL's thrown. It's the power hitting in the beginning, which was probably missing.
That's what I'm going to say. I mean, you can't fault them. From a management perspective, you sit down and you think, what's been successful? Saha's done all right for us in 2 seasons. But I don't think they would have been able to predetermine the success that teams have had with their top 2. I mean, if you think of what, I'm having a blank here, obviously KKR and
SRH
have done.
SRH. So I'm thinking those 2. I think it's going to almost rejig the thinking for next year when they go to the auction, because it's kind of getting to a stage where these batters at the top of the order don't often get out. And if they do fire on all cylinders, you want your gun firepower coming in earlier rather than later. So I think your point's valid. They thought, oh, well, Saha, he can maybe get us a 20 or 30. The other teams are thinking, if these two go and go well, they can give us 200. They can set up the game. I mean, the partnerships we've seen at the top of the order and the firepower and the strike rates, it's just been remarkable.
But that's what KKR was also hoping with Sunil Narine, and paid off for them because it was also just it was just a chance thing. They said that let him go hit it, and he's just come off so good for them.
It's unbelievable. That strike rate is unbelievable. But if you see the most successful teams are the teams that have absolute monsters opening the batting. You look at SRH, okay? You look at Rajasthan. You look at Kolkata. Okay, all of them have packed top order batting. And those 2 are killing it. 6 matches, KKR is getting 50 plus starts, and they're not getting 50 plus starts at 130, 140. You see, Saha batting up top of the order is IPL 2012, 2013, 2011, when Parthiv used to open the batting. If you remember, because he was the best partner, he could keep as well, and you could allow people to come and play short games like that. Now in the 6 overs, if you're not getting 70, 80, if you don't have a wicket or 2 down, they expect to be 70 or 80. They don't expect to be 45. And that is the big change that's happened. People are putting resources up front much more.
Yeah, because both teams are going with, or most teams are going with 2 players that are capable of striking at, say, 150, 160.
Minimum, yes.
But also capable of getting you a big score. Whereas if you look at Saha, his best strike rate would probably be 130.
Yeah, that's it. He's aggressive, but he still doesn't get it because he doesn't middle that.
He doesn't have the capability of going on until the 15th over, in all honesty. I mean, if he gets past 6, you're kind of thinking he can't really clear the boundary, he can't take on the boundary riders. Whereas these other guys are getting set, they go hard, they get set, and after 6, they can keep going in that fashion. So that you don't have to lose a wicket for someone to come in, start the innings, and then see what they can do.
Well, that's something that KKR clearly has followed. We've seen that up top with KKR, but just what happened with GT in 2022 is there was somebody putting their hand up every day. Even with KKR this season, we are seeing new man of the matches every time. So we see it here. It's not just Andre Russ, Sunil Narine all the way. We are seeing different people contributing in different games.
No, absolutely. If you look at that, Russ, Narine, Salt, Varun Chakravarti, Venkatesh Iyer, it gives you 5 man of the matches. The great thing that, a lot of teams do, and this is teams do it, especially in their dressing rooms, is they rank, they all have a personal man of the match for the teams within. Sometimes even if you lose and the other guy gets it or whatever other team gets it, you always have a man of the match. And sometimes they look at those top 2 or 3. If you look at Kolkata's second performance, you'll find there's a lot of places where a lot of other people have contributed at big second performance. Venkatesh Iyer in some days, Varun Chakravarti on days that he hasn't been the man of the match, he has been the man of the match in 2 days. I thought Ankrik Shagurvansh gave them a start a few times. Ramandeep contributed. So a lot of guys have come to the party, and I think that is what gives. See, what is it in T20 cricket? T20 cricket, if you look at it, is you need to increase your averages. Because you're right. On one day, Sai Sudharsan and Shubman Gill can go off and that's it. The game is over. But the odds are that it's not going to happen every day. So you want more. So the idea now is to have more and more match winners in your game, that whoever's day it is, even if you lose the top 2 or the top 3 players, there's still other guys who can complete the game for you. And I think that's what KKR is looking at.
Yeah, just to add to that point too, is if you have a look at that list, what you do find too is like someone like a Shreyas Iyer, he didn't have the real opportunity to have a man of the match performance. Because those man of the match performance, have a look at that. Narine, Salt,
the top order's done the heavy lifting.
Yeah, so four of the man of the match performances have come at the top of the order, so the game's kind of set up. I mean, if we think of that SRH game watched the other day, I mean, coming at number 3, you didn't even have a chance to bat, never mind chance to win man of the match. So that's the good thing as well. Whereas on the bowling front, everyone has to bowl their 4 overs, so that everyone kind of gets an opportunity to see if they can become the man of the match. But when you pick your teams, you're looking for 8 matches. 16 points is kind of gets you in. And when you sit down with that squad, you look and you think, well, can this guy win me 2? Can this guy win me 2? Can these guys win me 2? And then the rest of the squad, can they find 2 between them? That's how you kind of pick. That's when you pick your big 4 stars, your retention people. That's your thought process, is you want those guys to be match winners on their own. Someone like a Rashid Khan's been, you know, he'll win you 2 matches normally. I'm trying to think of Scar.
Yes.
You know he's going to win you 2 matches. And so that's what you want. So you want 3 of those guys who are going to win you 2 matches, and then the other 2 come from individual performance or team performances of someone else stepping up for a day.
But also, do you think when it's not like a star-driven team, there's clarity in the roles which KKR has probably had this time? Do you think that's what's converted into a success ratio for them?
Absolutely. Look, there are 2-3 things you need to do to have a good season. I've said this before. One is luck. You need to have luck on your side, you know, a couple of edges going down, you know. Sunil Narine getting set. If that experiment hadn't worked for the first 2-3 games, this experiment would have gone off, okay? 2 is, the other place where luck plays a huge role is lack of injuries. Okay, and you look at all the things. Patidar did not start for them. Patidar was injured. Okay, had Patidar come from the start and showed the kind of form it did, would RCB be in the place they were? You don't. Shami got injured hugely, lost the entire season. So luck in injury-free teams play a huge part. Then I think role definition plays a big part, because if you look at the KKR team right now, yes, the only big addition financially is Stark. Okay.
And Phil Salt up top.
And Salt. But also, financially, Salt was not a big investment. Salt was just a 2 crore replacement. But there are other pieces that has come in which are very useful. In the last auction, who walked in? Ankrish Raghuvanshi. How much? 20 lakhs.
Yeah.
20 lakhs, he's playing. He's played 7, 8, 9 matches for you at top of the order. Ramandeep Singh, 20 lakhs. Again,
value for money.
Serious value for money. Okay. Ramandeep batting at 7, fielding like a maniac, giving you some finishes. See. Last year, what else happened? Harshit Rana bowled 6, played 6 of their 14 matches. Okay, Vaibhav Vadora played 5 of their 14 matches. So what happened this year?
They're all coming together. And
clearly, here, you're my role player, you guys. Vaibhav, you're going to bowl, you're going to be my sub, you're going to swing it up front. Harshit, you're going to bowl at the deaths. You're absolutely right about the role definitions. They're very clear about that. They would have tried the Sunil Narine experiment 2-3 times. Had it not worked, they might have changed. It worked, they just went with it. But that clarity, even using... So what's happened is 4 players, it's great to talk about Salt and it's great to talk about Narine. But 4 players who you did not expect to give you nothing last year, very much last year, except flashes of talent. 2 of them gave you flashes of talent. Vaibhav Arora, Harshit Rana just gave you flashes of what they could do, but they were never given a consistent run. And Ankrish Raghuvanshi and Ramandeep Singh, these 4 have come in. These 4 are all regular first 11 players. So 4 first 11 players have walked in here, 5 Phil Salt has walked in, 6 Stark has walked in. So you're saying KKR has not bought big in the auction, but there are 6 players in the first 11 who weren't playing first 11 last year.
But also, let me go back. Who did they keep? So Shreyas Iyer, Venkatesh Iyer and Rinku Singh.
Shreyas, Venkatesh, Rinku, Nitish, so kept quite a few. They kept about 11.
I'm saying, so if you had to look at the personnel, you're talking about a team effort rather than big players, big star players. What's happened is a lot of the matches have been set up before those 3 have even had a chance.
The top order has just done it.
They've done it. So your big stars are like, Oh, they don't actually really need
And
me.
that's
Let
what
me try
Shreyas
and
spoke
play.
about. He said that, I've been given an anchor's role this season and there is clarity with what he's going into play. So when he's come into play, we've seen him play a certain way as well this season.
But also the pressure's been off them because the other guys at the top are getting them off to such a good start.
If you get 650 plus starts, that means 6 matches, you're already starting ahead of the game. That kind of onslaught, because they're not scoring slowly. And then this year you have to say that Venkatesh Iyer is their Swiss Army knife. He's fitting into whatever position. Okay, you want a number 3 here. This is my number 3 blade. Here's my number flight blade. I can bat at number 7 as well. So I'm saying which is the only reason I'm saying if they say perhaps you can open. And the only reason they wouldn't be able to do that, and I was thinking about it, is because they need a keeper. Otherwise they have to go to Shikhar Bharat. And they'd rather not. I think that they need a proper professional keeper. Otherwise, the very tempting option would have been to go with Venkatesh Iyer up front. And I know that Gautam really rates Shadfain Rutherford. And that would have been the combination, but then they don't have a keeper.
But how much of this is also, we've spoken about how much of a role Ashish Nehra has played and we've spoken about it for 2 seasons. This season, suddenly we're not seeing Nehra ji out there and, prominently out there so much as Gautam Gambhir. So do you think it's also just equations that the team, the management, the coaches have with players which make such a big difference?
It does, but I mean, you can't say much about. They were brilliant in their performance for 2 years. Final, and they probably should have won the second one as well. And you're only human, so when things are going well, there is more energy. When you're kind of on the back foot more often than not, the energy gets sapped out of the team, the system, everything that's in place. And also from a management perspective, a lot of control comes from the bowlers. A lot of them comes from when you're on the field. So they've lost that. They had lost that. And Ashish, obviously being a bowler himself, would kind of be passing the energy through that kind of form of attack to be able to implement into the team scenario. He wasn't really a batter, so how would he know how to really get that energy? That would be up to Gary Kirsten to try and do. So I don't think we can fault him for that. I think they would just be disappointed that they didn't cotton onto something a little bit better. Also, injuries. David Miller missed out for a period of time, and he's a kind of part-time. He's been a captain of South Africa. He's captained the RPL, so he could have also maybe had a bigger impact if he was around a bit more and getting some more runs.
Well, the covers are still on, so it's going to be a little delay, but we've got questions coming in from you all. So please let's have a look at what you'll have written in. Mr. Saha asks us, individually, neither Shreyas nor Gill has had a major role to play for wherever their teams are on the points table. But is it the experience of captaincy that has been a differential factor? Interesting.
I don't think so. I think Shreyas has done well because he's had limited batting opportunities. He hasn't really had to take responsibility, so that's fine. And obviously, captaincy-wise, you can't fault him. His team sitting top of the pops. I think Gill. I was looking at the stats the other day. I don't know if the boys have still got it up there in the back with regards to his seasons. There we go. On cue. So there you go. 16 innings, 483 runs. Okay, and an average of 34, strike rate 132, 450s. 2023, exceptional. That's a once in a lifetime kind of season, 17 innings. But 2024, he's played 12 innings. He's nearly got his 480 runs in 4 innings less. His average is better and his strike rate is better. He's got 250s and 100. So, obviously those all changed because he got 100 in the last game. So before that, it will look completely different. But that's the nature of the beast. You do get 14 innings in general, at least. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I think obviously he's had to have new responsibility. It's given him a change of mindset about what he's had to do off the field. But I wouldn't have any issues with his batting. And also the pressure. The pressure was on him because Sahar wasn't really taking the pressure off him.
So do you falter him with captaincy at all, or do you think he's done a good job?
I think he's done a reasonable job. Given the circumstances, he's done a reasonable job, and it's a work in progress for him.
Yes.
This is a year where a lot has gone wrong. As I said, the single thing we don't consider is how injuries can decimate a team. Just losing Shami and losing Miller and just missing that coordination, a team's coordination when everybody is healthy and firing, there's a smoothness to a team's performance. That goes away because you're not quite sure of your roles, and I think that's made a difference for them. I
think also from a captaincy perspective, you're controlled by your artillery. If you go into a big fight with cannons and everything that's going on and you go in with a
shotgun,
a water gun or something like that, you got no chance. So if you think about what he's had to deal with, he's had no chamois. That's the key. And he's also had an off-colour Rashid Khan. And in many ways, I mean, Hardik would have gone, Shami, you get me a good start. Rashid, you control the middle overs. That would have been his game plan.
Yes.
So 2 of those game plans have been taken out of his hands. So I think he needs to have an extended run. And we'll judge him on his captaincy over the next 2 seasons.
Well, Polly, Joyda.
No, we don't want to hear Joy's question. No. Oh, sorry. Are we not going there?
We will go there because the covers are coming off very slowly and the toss is still delayed. So we will join you all later. But before we go, we might as well get some more time to answer his question. I think that makes sense, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Just more time to answer
There's nothing about it.
Okay, here's the
here we
question. In T20 cricket, if it's Ricky Ponting for Australia, Kevin Peterson for England, Jeetan Patel for New Zealand and Dwayne Smith for the West Indies, who is it for India?
Oh, why have you not mentioned a South African?
Oh, there are actually reasons.
No, I mean, did you not know I was going to be on the show with you? Where's the South African?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
You should
Apologies.
be. Okay.
So you're protesting and not going to answer this in protest? Or are you going to give
I
a
think
thought?
he
Bring it
knows the
again. I need some thought process here. Come on, give me.
Yeah,
I just looked and I didn't see a South African, so I thought that is so wrong. Dwayne Smith. Okay, so this is my time, hey? This is
Yep,
kind
it's
of
your
when I
time.
was
It's your
playing.
time. It's your time.
Maybe is he in the answer? Are you in the answer?
No, because there's no South African mentioned there. It's only asking what the Indian solution
what
is.
the Indians do.
Okay, well, I'm not even thinking about this until you give me what the South African version of that is. So when we get into the green room, you've got to give me the answer.
Done.
Okay, so we have to go do that because we have got a very angry South African on the set right now. So we will go to the green room. We'll give him some more coffee, some more bhajia, and cool him down with some nice bhajia. That's the weather. You all go get your bhajias as well, and we'll wait for that toss, and then we'll come back once the toss is happening and give you all the updates. So do watch us again when we're back on Cricbuzz Live. See you all soon.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad को 50 एक्सप्रेस पौरबती स्टेशन नेताजी भवन कृपया ध्यान दें